Only yesterday I asked the question, who will be the next Archbishop of Canterbury? But the ground is moving fast. New headlines have landed, and now all eyes are turning to the possibility that a woman could take the role for the first time. Hi, my name's Rev Dan. On this channel, I unpack all that's happening in the church and equip you to live faithfully for Jesus. So 2 articles have come out within a couple of days of each other, both speaking about the potential appointment of the first female Archbishop of Canterbury. The first is Anglican.ink, who have put forward Rachel Treweek, who is the Bishop of Gloucester. She didn't make it into my video yesterday. Her name was bandied about, but not so much. Maybe I should have taken more notice of her and put her in my video yesterday as one of the suggestions, but making up for that now. The other one is from the Telegraph, talking about Guli Francis-Dehqani as their lead for the first female Archbishop of Canterbury. We also mustn't forget as well Sarah Mullally, who is the Bishop of London, the most senior female bishop in the Church of England at the moment. She was a former chief nursing officer as well before coming into the Church of England. And she would be an obvious candidate for consideration given her background. But let's be honest, there is no official shortlist that has been published. The Crown Nominations Commission, or the CNC, who appoint the Archbishop of Canterbury, are working behind closed doors, and there's a huge amount of secrecy in the process. So these are just media speculations and not confirmed outcomes. But what we have to take notice that if headlines are out there, they matter, they shape expectations, they influence debates, and they also reveal the symbolic weight such an appointment would carry. So what would it mean if Rachel Treweek, Sarah Mullally or Guli Francis-Dehqani, or indeed any woman, were appointed Archbishop of Canterbury? First, within the Church of England, it would be historic. The first time a woman has held the most senior post in the Church of England. For many, this would be hailed as progress, equality finally recognised, women's leadership publicly affirmed. But for complementarians, it would strike at the heart of conviction. Complementarians believe that Scripture reserves episcopal headship only for men. So the appointment of a woman archbishop would not be a token gesture, but a structural shift. Clergy swear canonical obedience to their diocesan bishop, yet all bishops remain under the wider leadership of Canterbury as metropolitan and primate. So for those who hold to male headship, recognising a female archbishop as spiritual head of the Church of England is a profound theological conflict. And the tension wouldn't stop at parish level either. It would hit the bishops themselves, especially the provincial episcopal visitors, also known as flying bishops. Their role exists to provide oversight to traditionalist parishes who cannot, in good conscience, receive the ministry of women. But they themselves serve under Canterbury. And if Canterbury were a woman, how could they continue their ministry without being torn by contradiction? Some might call for new provincial visitors. Others might look for cover under wider orthodox networks like the GSFA or GAFCON, but that would have its own complications. But make no mistake, such an appointment would create new challenges right at the heart of the structure of the Church of England. It's also important to remember that all the senior women being discussed, Rachel Treweek, Sarah Mullally, Guli Francis-Dehqani, have all publicly supported the Church of England's decision to permit prayers of blessings for same-sex couples. They have all welcomed the LLF process and aligned themselves with the direction set by General Synod. So whichever of them were appointed, it would almost certainly mean that the trajectory continues. For some in the church, that is a sign of inclusion and pastoral care. For others, it raises concerns about whether the Church of England is drifting further from biblical orthodoxy? And can an Archbishop of Canterbury, who is following this process, really keep the Church of England together as one? And then there's the Anglican Communion. In 2023, several global South primates declared that they no longer recognise the Archbishop of Canterbury's leadership after the Church of England approved blessings for same-sex couples. For them, appointing a woman archbishop would add yet another dividing line, because many GSFA and GAFCON provinces do not ordain women as bishops. So a female Archbishop of Canterbury would be seen as England cutting the last tether to apostolic order. In practice, that would mean the symbolic centre of the communion moving further and further away from Canterbury. Networks like GSFA and GAFCON are already stepping into that gap. Appointing a woman would only accelerate that shift. And for millions of Anglicans across the world, Canterbury's voice would lose both credibility and representation. So we need to face this honestly. In England, there would be the deepening of a divide between egalitarian and complementarian wings of the church. Globally, it would widen the fracture between north, south, east and west. For some, it would be celebrated as a sign of progress, and yet for others, it would be regarded as a divisive break with apostolic order. And notice the triple pressure here as well. Rachel Treweek is the first diocesan woman bishop. Sarah Mullally is the most senior bishop in the Church of England, and Guli Francis-Dehqani is both a woman and an Iranian refugee. The press is already framing this around history, diversity and inclusion, but if it is only about symbolism without theological integrity and international credibility, the communion will fracture even further. Friends, this is not just about one person in Lambeth Palace, it's about what the Church of England chooses to be. For complementarians at home and for many in the Anglican Communion who already feel alienated. An appointment like this would confirm to them that Canterbury is on a very different path. And the risk is that instead of holding the communion together, the next Archbishop of Canterbury becomes the figurehead of a smaller Western bloc. The Bible reminds us that leadership is never about image, but about shepherding. It says, "Be shepherds of God's flock under your care, not lording it over those who are entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock." The real question is whether the Church of England will choose shepherds after God's own heart. So what do you think? Would appointing a woman archbishop be a step forward or a breaking point? How would complementarian parishes respond? What about the flying bishops caught in the middle? And what would this mean for the Anglican Communion worldwide? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, share it and subscribe as we get closer to hearing the announcement on who actually will be the next Archbishop of Canterbury.